Lakshmi Shetty, Assistant Training and Placement Officer in Sri Madhva Adhiraj Institute of Technology and Management, Bantakal.
And I am Vidya Bhatt. I head Training Placements and Industrial Liaison at SMVITM for short.
Today we are here because we started up with a webinar series called as I Love Engineering. Happy Valentine's Day first. On the day of Valentine, we've started up saying I Love Engineering webinar series, where we'll have every week. The series will consist of various domain-specific information. We call it as career guidance and placement consulting related information. Week-wise, the sectors or the domain, for example, electronics and communication engineering, computer science, mechanical, civil will be covered, and we will have a discussion about these domain-specific subject information. Not only that, also the placement scope. So this is what you can expect from this series.
So first, Lakshmi, what I would like to also share is, I think all students should also consider what companies are looking for. What are their expectations? What are their demands? Well, mainly, they will be looking for three things. One is knowledge, second is skill sets, and the third is attitude, of course. So knowledge being your basic domain knowledge, and skill sets, it's anything that you learn that can be applied. So it's the skills that you develop through your project work, through your learning certifications, etc. And attitude, of course, that is your basic value systems, the way you communicate. So these are all the things that usually play a very important role in you getting selected in a company, right? So let's move on to the next aspect, which is what are the different career options. Now I'm going to list down a few of these career options that we have, for you. Believe me, there are lots of options for you out there the moment you graduate from engineering. Then first and foremost being private jobs. I think many of you, rather 80% of the students generally opt for a private job. You want jobs in the mass recruiting companies like an Infosys or TCS, the Wipros, the Cognizant, the Capgemini, etc. And definitely there is a lot of scope for a lot of entry-level positions, especially for engineering students, be it from any branch. Many a times, most of these companies, mass recruiting companies, will allow for all branches to apply or register for their campus recruitment process. And some of them are specific about either circular branches or every branch except this branch. Right, so that becomes your first level of job entry levels at a private or a mass recruiting company. The second one is a medium-sized company. So there are many medium-sized companies also where your skill sets will be well utilized depending upon the different projects that they work on in different industries. And after a medium-sized company, you also have those many startups which are mushrooming everywhere, where your scope is huge. You will be right from the peon of the company to the CEO of the company. You will be doing all kinds of roles and becoming very versatile and building a huge horizon of skill sets. And I think depending upon where you want to be, these are your options in the private sector. The second level is government jobs. So government jobs, I think all of you know that government jobs are basically divided into Mini Ratna, Maharatna and Navratna companies. So government jobs will require you to do a GATE exam, and having a GATE score will always give you a higher pay package and facilities than without a GATE score. Certain Navratna companies insist on a GATE score for entry-level positions too. Whereas certain other companies like a Mini Ratna may not even ask for a GATE score, but yes, having a GATE score is always an advantage. So these are this is your second option in a government enterprise, which again can have a technical as well as a non-technical role. So if I were to say that a government job in a non-technical role would be basically looking at options like railways or banking sector or an LIC or a post office, etc., would be basically under the non-technical or technical sectors too. Coming to the third option we have is defense, Indian defense. Now that can be in the Indian Navy, in the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army. So here, if you're looking at these three options, you have university level entry point, where most of these come to the different universities, have a nodal center where students can apply for, and this is mainly for the boys. I think this is what I've generally understood. There can be non-technical roles for the women, and they can apply through the portals of these defense area portals. And then there's a merchant navy. So merchant navy options are basically only for boys, mainly in the mechanical sector. And there is also an aspect of navigational studies which can be done as a BSc course in many of these organizations like Samudra, and there is Anglo-Eastern Shipping Company. So these are the different educational institutes, come companies which are in a position to place students. Another advantage that many of the students who opt for the merchant navy will also have is that it's a guaranteed job. So provided after engineering you do a course which is their stipulated course in marine engineering or navigational studies, there is guaranteed placement, and believe me, the pay scales are excellent. But yes, there's always that option that you will be at sea for 6 months or 8 months of the year, and if that's what your calling is, then so be it. The next option that I would like to talk about is being an academician. So yes, you can be a faculty, you can be a teacher at a college level, at a professional college level. And for that, the first level it is doing an MTech, followed by the NET exams. And at the second level, it's also completing your PhD. Getting a PhD in after the NEP 2020, the new education policy, most of the academic institutions and universities expect students with PhDs, and so that they can continue into their research.
Now, ma'am was speaking about academician, and I can add in few points since I am working in electronics department as well. Not only MTech, these days after MTech, suppose if you have joined any college you can join as an assistant professor at an assistant professor's designation after MTech in an engineering college, or also in a diploma college. Even diploma becomes an option for you after MTech. After getting certain years of experience, if you are interested in research, and nowadays for promotion from assistant professor to associate professor, PhD is a must. So if you are interested in research, then get some experience after MTech, teaching experience, and then go for PhD from a reputed institute or universities. That is an option wherein you can grow in the education field as an academician.
Right. So from that, I'd also like to share about another career option that you can have, which is if you would like to start your own business. So there are many students who have brilliant ideas and who can incubate in the college, and they would like to commercialize their product and therefore start their own company from there. So that is one route that you can take. Or you may come from a business family who already has a business and you would like to join your family in the family business, and that's the route that you need. So, but no matter what, you still need to develop and build on your entrepreneurial skills. So every college has an entrepreneurial wing, which they conduct a lot of workshops and seminars and talks so that you get introduced to various aspects of entrepreneurship, and that's another option that you can choose from. Moving on, we also have the Indian Civil Services. Whether you like to be an IAS officer, an IPS officer, or that's the Indian Engineering Services. You have the UPSC exams, where once you write the UPSC exams, you can also become an IPS officer or an IAS officer. Other than that, you have technical courses. So if you do not, or if you feel you want to go into a specialized area, a niche area, like cybersecurity or robotics and automation, yes, today many colleges are introducing these as specialization areas, but you also have courses which specialize in certain niche areas, where if you consider this, you can undergo this after your engineering education and go for those special sectors itself to work in. Apart from this, you always have the option of distance education. So whether it is Manipal University or whether it is IGNOU, you have many such options, or Annamalai University. You have various options where you can do distance education right from home. And of course, last and not the least is freelancing. So today we all know that many students students parallelly in addition to education. They're also doing freelancing projects, content related work, technical projects, which is earning them, so which is helping them to also build on their career skill sets. So these are the various options. So let me just list it one by one to you. They include government, technical and non-technical jobs, private jobs in either mass recruiting companies, mid-sized companies or startups. We have higher education. I think this is one topic that I didn't consider or talk to you about. So I would like to also talk to you about higher education, which is basically after engineering you can do your MTech or MS or MBA. This can be in India or abroad. You have various higher education consultants who can help you to prepare yourself in terms of applying for admissions, what are the GRE tests, what is the TOEFL or IELTS tests, etc. What are the living conditions there. So these are the higher education consultants who will also guide you if you would like or if you would plan to study abroad. Apart from that, we have the Merchant Navy, the Indian Defence Forces. You can be an academician, an entrepreneur. You can join the Indian Civil Services. You can also have technical courses or professional courses and distance education and freelancing. So with that, I'd like to also take it over, hand it over to Lakshmi to talk about the next, which are the different recruitment modes for freshers.
As a fresher, I'm always having a question, what are the different recruitment modes that I have in the campus and after I complete my engineering? So I will cover both the sections. Let us first see on campus or we also call it as a placement campus hiring, which is the major source of recruitment for freshers. These days you have mass recruiting companies, we also call it as MRCs, like companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, Capgemini, Tech Mahindra. These are the companies that come to campus or have campus placements done. They are called as mass recruitment companies. Why they are called as mass recruitment companies? Because they have huge number requirement in thousands. In fact, there are some companies who have every year they hire around 5,000 to 10,000 freshers, engineering freshers. Or even the MCA and BCA candidates. So these are the huge numbers that they have. So when they come for a campus, we can expect that majority of our students can get hired in these MRC companies. So this happens through campus recruitment process. So what are the things involved in campus recruitment process will be told by ma'am in the next section. So campus recruitment, or we also call it as on-campus placement, is one mode of recruitment for freshers. Then there is something called as off-campus. That off-campus opportunity can come directly from the companies. They can send across their requirement, either they publish it to the colleges saying off-campus drives are going on, or they publish it on their websites or on different job portals. Off-campus drives are going on. So off-campus drives can be during the engineering period or after a pass-out batch has completed their engineering. So for example, now currently there is 2022 pass-out batch is the upcoming engineering batch. So for them, campus hiring is going on. Off-campus hiring can be during their engineering process or after their engineering is over. So that is off-campus drive that can happen. We also call it as direct hiring from the company's end. So here, if you are not part of this off-campus or on-campus, there is one thing that is required in the off-campus, on-campus is something called as eligibility criteria. Every company has certain eligibility criteria. On an average, they have minimum requirement of 6 CGPA. Company-wise, this eligibility criteria differs. Here, I am just telling you what majority of the companies are expecting in terms of eligibility criteria. Eligibility criteria is just an entry pass for you. You can only apply if you have these eligibility criteria. So I can say that 6 to 6.5 CGPA is on an average requirement. No current backlogs or no active backlog is also another major criteria that every company follows. So it's not only for MRCs or top IT companies, also the product companies. Product companies, in case if we say domain specific or core companies, they have slightly higher eligibility criteria. They expect the students to have more than 7 to 8 CGPA, or 8 CGPA is something that they ask for some of the companies. So this is campus, off-campus hiring that happens. If you are an affiliated student with VTU, then VTU CPC also has, VTU CPC is a central placement center from the university's end, VTU end. They also post, they have tie-up with various companies, and they also post the jobs or requirements for VTU affiliated students. So VTU CPC through recruitment is also another mode a fresher can try. The third mode is open to all. As you know, directly we can go through the company's web portal or company's website, and there is a tab called as a careers tab, where if you are interested in any of the company, suppose if you have a dream company, let me say Google may be your dream company, or any dream companies you have, you can directly go through the portal, their website, and go to the tab, careers tab. There you will have, there you will have various openings that are present for that company. Through that you can post, or through that you can apply by following the process that is mentioned in the company's website. So this is, we can also name it as a direct portal hiring or direct company website hiring. That can be another mode or the third mode of recruitment for freshers. So even if the companies are, those companies are not affiliated with your college or the college that you are there learning for the campus, you can always try by sending across your resume through the career portal. Or they will also mention in the website, if you go there, there will be a career email ID. So you can write a nice cover letter and give a good subject line, attach a latest resume and send the mail directly to the careers email ID. So that is the third mode of recruitment that you can have as a freshers. Then we have through internship or through apprenticeship. So internship these days, because as students you will be definitely having a lot of theoretical knowledge or fundamental knowledge, but when it comes to industry, they are very specific. They need very specific domain knowledge or technical aspects. So they want to train the students and then hire them. So in such cases, they offer an internship initially, where on-job training happens during internship or apprenticeship. If your performance is found to be good during internship, you may get a placement opportunity. So here it depends on the company whether after internship, after completion of internship, they want to hire you or not. It's completely dependent on your performance during your internship period or during your apprenticeship period. So internship can happen. The duration of internship can be from few weeks, 4 weeks to 6 months also. So there are a few companies that they offer 4 weeks to 6 weeks internship. There are few companies that they offer 6 months internship. Only after the 6 months internship is over, they can go ahead and hire you based on your performance. So here in internship, I would also like to add one more point is, the internship can be offered during your engineering days, maybe in your 6th semester, 7th semester, while you are studying your 6th semester, 7th semester. At that time, companies can offer you internship, or the internship offering can be after the completion of engineering also. So this is a changing trend. Many companies want students to finish their internship initially and then go for placements. So this is a new trend in the placement. Internship can be a paid internship or an unpaid. That means you may get stipend during your internship. That companies may pay you stipend during internship, and sometimes the companies may not pay the stipend during your internship. So that is another way of recruitment or mode of recruitment, internship or through apprenticeship. The next mode that I would like to talk about is the various job portals that are available. So there are career job portals that are there. So let's continue with the mode of recruitments. Another mode of recruitment which can be used not only by freshers but even the experienced job aspirants are using this mode, and this is a very popular mode, that is applying through job portals. For freshers specifically, Naukri.com has a specific job portal called as firstnaukri.com, where there are lots of jobs that are listed, fresher jobs that are listed by various companies, and you can apply to that companies through job portal. So you have to, the requirement for updating your, you have to keep updating your resume in the job portal, update your skill sets, update your qualification, keep updating the experience that you have, maybe the experience may be a project experience or internship experience. So the moment you keep updating your resume based, if the skill sets that you have matches with the company's requirement, then the company may give you a call for an interview directly by observing your resume through this job portals. So job portals have two logins. One is aspirant's login and the other one is an employer's login. So even if you have registered through that job portal and have updated your resume through that job portal, you may get called directly from the companies after they observe your resume. And if there are some jobs that are listed, you can apply for that job if it is suitable. If the location is suitable, if the requirement is suitable for you, you can always apply through the job portals. I can name some job portals. First Naukri is a very popular one. Then you have Monsters, Shine Job. You also have LinkedIn. Through LinkedIn Careers, nowadays LinkedIn is one of the major source. Many companies, they use this LinkedIn Career, so you can become a premium member of LinkedIn and apply for jobs. There is a tab called as LinkedIn Jobs. Through that also you can apply for various company job postings that are done in LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, having a LinkedIn profile is very important for a fresher. See to it that you have a LinkedIn profile and you keep updating the LinkedIn profile. So that can be a major source for recruitment for a fresher. And also it's an impression that you put in. Every employer will go ahead and have a look at your LinkedIn profile if they want to inquire or if they want to get to know more about a candidate. So job portals is another mode of recruitments that we have. Next is you can think that next mode is through training agencies. What happens is some of the companies nowadays, the company's requirement is they need ready resources. So when I say ready resources, it means that they need someone who has all the technical knowledge or whatever is that technical aspects that they expect. This should be known to the student or should be known to a candidate before they join. So that is what we call it as a ready resource. So the companies do not want to waste their much of their time into training a fresher, so that they expect these things should be there. So when you want certain skill sets to be added, especially the technical skill sets to be added in, then you can first get the training through these training agencies. And these training agencies will have a prior tie-up with the companies, or they may have placement tie-ups with the companies for their requirement, and through their placement you can get hired. Even these training agencies come for placement in the colleges. So they run a paid version as well as a CSR version. They call it as a corporate social responsibility version, where they come to the campus and they offer few students, they select few students in their CSR drive. They don't charge any amount for the training that they provide. For students who have got shortlisted or students who have got selected in their CSR drive. But if you are not through the CSR drive, you may have to pay certain amount for getting the training in these training agencies. That amount may vary from 25,000 per training to 60,000 to 80,000 based on the skill sets that you will be adding in the training. So here the training agencies, I can name some very popular training agencies which come for campus drive. In our campus drives we call it as indirect hiring, we don't call it as a direct hiring. Indirect hiring, why? Because it's a training offer, and then after the training is over, they will get placed into different companies. So we call it as an indirect hiring. So some of the companies that come for the indirect hiring or training agencies are J Spiders, Q Spiders, Pentagon Space, Path Infotech. So there are many other companies that come And definitely there are websites that many websites where you can get information about different training agencies based on your area of interest. Suppose if you are interested being a Java developer, then you can go ahead and look for the companies, training agencies that give the training in Java. So those depending on what your requirement is. For example, if you want into embedded system VLSI based training, then there are lots of training agencies that give ASIC design, embedded, VLSI based training. So that training agencies you can go ahead and get your training done and then get hired. So that is the another mode of recruitment, training through training agencies. And the last one that I would like to speak about is through assessment agencies. So the companies these days, as you know, there are various processes that a company has to follow when it comes to recruitment process. That will be told in detail by ma'am. Some of the initial process that is needed, they outsource, the companies outsource it to certain assessment agencies. So here the job of these assessment agencies is to finish up with the initial recruitment process, that is getting their assessment done for aptitude or technical written test to be done, programming test they want to conduct. So they outsource this job to the assessment agencies, and there are very popular assessment agencies called as AMCAT. You have this AMCAT, you have eLitmus, you have CoCubes, so Great Learning. There are many assessment agencies who, if you have to initially as a fresher, you need to pay certain amount, a meager amount, maybe 1,000 rupees or 1,200 rupees for assessment. Go register to the AMCAT or CoCubes, get their test done, and you will get a score. We call it as an AMCAT score or a CoCube score. So based on your score, you will be directly contacted by the companies who are partnered with this assessment agencies. So that score will be valid to different companies, and they will directly approach the candidate based on the score that you have got. So there are in the assessment you have different sections. You have aptitude as a major section. Then you also have technical section. So it can be your domain specific technical questions, or it can be programming related questions. So you have certain chances. For example, if you talk about AMCAT, you have two chance for, I think you have two assessment, you can give
route through the college.
Yeah, if the route is through college, by paying 1,000 or 1,200, you may get two assessment chance. So whichever assessment you have scored the highest, that score will be considered for the hiring purpose. These assessment agencies have a lot of companies as their partners, which for them this score will be valid and they can directly contact the candidates. So this is also another way or mode of recruitment through assessment agencies. So let me sum it up and tell you what all are the recruitment modes. We spoke about on-campus, direct hiring, or off-campus drives. In that off-campus, I would like to also add in walk-in interviews that are there. So you may get walk-in interviews, advertisement through newspapers, and go ahead and go for this walk-in interviews. Then there is internship, apprenticeship. We have training agencies. We have assessment agencies through recruitments. So these are all the recruitment moves.
Lakshmi, I would also like to add here that when we are talking about assessment agencies, whether it is aspiring minds, that's AMCAT exams, what is also important for the students to know is, in addition to getting these two chances, which is valid for a year or sometimes 2 years, sometimes yes, there's a direct opportunity where you can pay. What I also would like to share is that many companies, especially being in the metro, they don't come to tier 2, tier 3 cities. And AMCAT, these assessment agencies, usually have those companies which don't come to for campus hiring in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So that is where the opportunities the students will get on these cities, tier 2, tier 3 cities, to apply for certain companies, which like an Adobe, or it could be other companies like Maple Labs, or which do not come to a campus. But so that is something that I would like to add here. In addition, a few more things that I would like to talk to you about is also that many companies today have what is called as their own learning portals. So Infosys has something which is InfyTQ, and TCS has something called as TCS Ion, and IBM also has its own learning portal. In addition to the companies having their own learning portals, which is also an entry point for many students to get entry level positions, there's also independent learning portals, right? So you have Break Learning and many such independent learning portals where students can apply directly, paying a nominal sum for subscribing to these portals and getting job opportunities. So continuing about the assessment agencies, so there are many, as Lakshmi has just shared with you, whether it's an AMCAT, GoCube, Z-Litmus, RiseSharp, My Anatomy. You also have Superset, for example. Now Superset is something which does assessments for various companies like IBM, Wipro, Capgemini, etc. So those of you who have dream companies, as these companies, can always subscribe to Superset or AMCAT or GoCubes to get entry level. So based on the different learning portals also, you have certain foundational courses. For example, at Infosys, you have something called as a foundational course. And if you are able to clear the foundational course with a 65% score, then you will get a direct entry level interview for a particular designation. With TCS, there's something called as NQT, which is the National Qualifier Test. So if you qualify through the National Qualifier Test with a good score, not only will TCS give you opportunities, but the whole Tata Group companies also you get opportunities. In addition to that, whoever are the other companies who have associated or collaborated with TCS, with the ION, will also get opportunities in those companies. So students who get a good score will also get a good opportunities from a host of other companies who have collaborated with TCS ION. So these are with the learning portals. In addition to that, there is also an entry level point through what we call as referrals. I think many of the companies that the alumni have joined have something called as a referral system or what is called as a buddy system. So from that, the alumni can refer the juniors, and that's a faster entry way, so which instead of going through a typical website portal where you put your resume in the career pages, and it takes a long time because there's a huge list of candidates. Here, once alumni refers you, your entry point, your interviews and will be much faster and quicker, and that's another way in which you can get your opportunity. So be in touch with your alumni and make the best of it. And lastly and not the least, we also have an apprenticeship. Apprenticeship usually is there with the PSUs or the public sector units, which may or may not have employment scope for employment. It is a pure work experience. So usually most of the PSUs or the government PSUs have what is called as an apprenticeship program for 1 year, and sometimes there is scope. So the very good students will, 1, 2, 3 students may have a scope to get offered in the same company. But generally otherwise, after you finish your apprenticeship, you need to move out. But it's a solid work experience that you get, and based on this experience, it will be much easier for you to find jobs outside. So these are the topics that we have covered today. I hope it has been informative and interesting for all of you, and I want all of you to make the best use of this career guidance and placement opportunities as well as a sector introduction to you. So with that, we end today's inaugural session, and what I would also like to share with you is what we are going to do for the next session. So the next session is going to be something from the Electronics and Communication Department, where we will take up certain domains, explain to you certain aspects of concepts, what is the scope that domain has for you in terms of learning or a career, and what are the different areas of study, and again what are the technical skill sets that are required in those areas, and of course the career and the placement opportunities. So that is what is going to be in our next sector. So be tuned, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.
With this, we end the first inaugural session of I Love Engineering webinar series. Thank you.